I did something on my last trip I thought I would never do. I left my big cameras at home. No Sony, no Blackmagic, just my iPhone. I was in Guatemala for a wedding, hanging out with friends, exploring Antigua, and honestly, I didn't want to deal with the hassle of carrying around a full bag of gear. Camera bodies, lenses, batteries, straps. It's sweaty, annoying, and let's face it, it makes you a target for theft in certain places. But beyond that, I also didn't want to be that guy, the one who's constantly stopping the group to get the perfect shot. I've done it before, and I know how much it can slow things down. This trip wasn't about creating a cinematic masterpiece. It was just being in the moment, enjoying the time with friends, and sure, capturing memories, but in a way that didn't get in the way of the experience. So I decided to try something completely different. Instead of bringing my usual gear, I relied entirely on my iPhone. But not just the default camera app, and I'll get into that in a second. Before the trip, I kept asking myself, is an iPhone actually good enough? Could the footage even hold up to what I'm used to working with professional cameras? So let's break it down. First, the setup I used. I wasn't shooting with the stock iPhone camera app. Instead, I used the Blackmagic camera app. If you haven't tried it, it's a game changer. It lets you record in ProRes, H.264 or H.265 formats, and more. But the real MVP? Apple Log. Apple Log is what takes iPhone footage from looks good on Instagram to something you can actually work with in a professional workflow. It bypasses all the default processing, like sharpening and color grading, that an iPhone normally applies. Instead, you get a much more flat, neutral footage that is easier to color grade. For someone like me, who's used to color grading footage from Sony or Blackmagic cameras, this was huge. The footage didn't feel overly digital or artificial. It felt clean, like a proper base to build on. And shooting with the iPhone, it was ridiculously easy. Honestly, I'd just pull it out of my pocket, hit the action button on the side, and boom, I was recording. No straps, no clips, no setup. It was so freeing. I wasn't fumbling with gear or worrying about the settings every 5 minutes. It really just let me stay in the moment while still capturing what I wanted. But let's talk about the downsides, because there were a few. The first big limitation was shutter speed. Without a cage or rig to attach an ND filter to, you're stuck with whatever shutter speed the phone needs to expose correctly. That means you get that classic jittery motion, the kind of look that screams phone footage instead of cinematic, you might say. It's fine for usual shoots, but if you're going for a more polished cinematic look, it's a compromise. The second issue? Stabilization. This was a frustrating one. At the time of filming, there was a bug in the iPhone's stabilization for third-party apps, and especially when using the Blackmagic camera app. If stabilization was turned on, the footage would randomly jump around every couple seconds, completely ruining the shot. So I had to shoot without any stabilization. And let me tell you, handheld footage without any stabilization on a phone is rough. When I tried stabilizing it in Premiere, the results were bad. Warping corners, stretching, all the stuff you hate to see. Of course, as luck has it, the day I got home, iOS 18.2 beta dropped. It fixed the bug. Perfect timing, right? Despite those challenges though, I was seriously impressed with the results. For what I was trying to do, documenting moments, capturing the vibe of the trip, the iPhone was more than capable. The convenience alone made it worth it. But let me be clear, this is not at all replacing my Sony FX3, any Sony cameras, Blackmagic cameras, or whatever anytime soon. Those are still my go-to tools for projects where I need the absolute best image quality or where I'm telling a story that demands more control over the visuals. This trip, it was about creating what I call moving postcards, like little snippets of the experience, quickly and easily shot, without interrupting the flow of the trip. And for that, honestly, an iPhone paired with the Blackmagic camera app, and most importantly, Apple Log, was perfect. So to wrap it up, would I do it again? 100% I would. For trips where I'm documenting the journey or capturing cool moments without overthinking it, the iPhone is absolutely staying in my toolkit, obviously because it's in my pocket. If you're on the fence about trying this, I'd say give it a shot. It's never going to replace your main gear. but it might surprise you with how much creative freedom it gives you. If you like this video and you want to check out more, click on the card here and make sure you subscribe. Thanks. Bye.